What's up, everybody? Jody here with the Bass Nerds. I'm excited to demo for you a new pedal that I just got hip to from our buddy Kevin Scott, current touring bass player with Warren Haynes and Government Mule, as well as a bunch of other bands. A couple months ago, Kevin posted on his Instagram about this pedal right here, and I was intrigued, and he had a lot of great things to say about it. So I reached out to the guys at Osiris and convinced them to send me a pedal so I could do a demo on it, and here it is. All right, everybody, I gotta stop the video real quick right here. After I edited this video, I discovered that I have been saying Osiris wrong this whole time. And I say it a lot in this video. I pronounce it Osiris. I blame Apple because of Siri, and it just has an O in the front of it, so it looks like Osiri, but it's Osiris. And now I feel like a giant idiot. But not so much of an idiot that I'm going to re-record this whole thing and re-edit it and do it all over again. So what I've decided to do instead is replace every time I say Osiris with this. Osiris. So the dozen or so times I say this throughout the rest of this video, you're going to hear Osiris. And you're just going to have to deal with it. Other than that, I hope you enjoy the video. Put your comments down below. Love to hear what you think. And I hope you enjoy this Osiris pedal. For you jam band deadhead guys, this might look a little familiar. This design, the star and logo, because this is based off of a 1970s bass that Phil Lesh played, the Mission Control bass from Alembic. And this filter pedal is based off of that, the filters in that pedal. So the guys at Osiris, they bought that bass, they then reverse engineered the filters in that bass and put it in a pedal. And that's why you have this like kind of this pearl star design, which is reminiscent of that Alembic bass. Phil played that bass for the later half of the 70s. So it got a lot of love, and 74, 75 through about 79, pretty good years for the Dead. This is the Osiris Philter pedal, Philter, after Phil Lesh. I'm gonna go through what each knob does here and kind of talk a little bit about it. But first, we've got an input. We've got a 9-volt plug on it with a little LED that comes on when you plug in, and an out. Fairly simple, in-out plug. Then metal chassis, wooden laser etched top, hand stained with the pearl inlays. Very cool, like handcrafted, unique kind of design here. Each pedal comes with a power supply. I think that's pretty cool. First, you have a direct volume, which is unaffected by these 4 knobs. So if you just want your straight, clean tone, turn that up and turn your filter volume all the way down, and you're just getting a clean signal. None of the affected filters are going through. Then you have a filter knob, which is how much volume from the pedal you want mixed in with your dry signal. Then you have frequency knob. That is going to pick which frequency we're affecting. Then you have a Q control, which is how wide that Q is and how many frequencies you're affecting at once, essentially. And then you have this 4-way kind of rotary switch, and it's labeled low pass, band pass, high pass, and notch filter. Let me explain what each one of those are. You have a low pass, which, if you know anything about low pass filters, basically what that does is it takes all your low frequencies, unaffected, doesn't do anything to those, and then anything, depending on which frequency and Q you pick, anything beyond those low frequencies becomes attenuated, which basically means reduced. A low pass filter is great if you want to add some low end, some body, some more subby kind of feel to your tone. Important thing to know is that this is not a all or nothing thing. It's not like you're cutting out all your high frequencies and now you just got this like muddy low end. Remember, you have your direct signal and your filter volume. So you just dial in how much of that you want, and you could still retain a lot of clarity, high-end clarity when using a bandpass filter. or I'm sorry, a low pass filter. Then I'm going to skip over the next one. I'll come back to it. That's band pass. We're going to move to the high pass. Well, we just talked about what a low pass does. What do you think a high pass does? Takes all your high frequencies, doesn't affect them, takes everything from a certain point of your whatever frequency you select, takes everything on the low side, attenuates it, brings it down, and then doesn't affect those high frequencies. Well, you know, you're a bass player. Why would I want to just highlight my high frequencies and not my low frequencies? Well, this is good if you want to add a little bit of clarity, a little bit of more attack, really good for like slap. If you just want a little brighter tone, like this is a good option. Again, it's not all or nothing. You could still dial in your unaffected tone and how much of the filter you want in your tone. Band pass. Well, we just talked about a low pass. We just talked about a high pass. What do you think a band pass it does? Well, depending on which frequency select and how much Q you want, how wide of a frequency spectrum you want to affect, everything on the high side, other left of that, and everything on the right, so high and lows, become attenuated, and you're just highlighting those specific frequencies, right? What would this be great for? Well, in a lot of situations, bass players might find a hard time cutting through a mix. You know, you're on stage and you feel like you're drowning around the drummer and the guitar player. A lot of times people tend to just want to crank the volume and turn up the bass. Next time you're in this situation and you want to cut through a little bit, turn up your mids just a little bit and see what that does for clarity, definition, and cutting through. That might be a way that you might want to use the band pass instead of just turning up your volume. Again, highlighting certain frequencies. Maybe you want to be you're doing a little more like Phil Lesh, finger picky kind of thing, and you just want to highlight a little bit of those frequencies to get a little more clarity and a little more definition while you're kind of like noodling, kind of for lack of a better term, in portion of a song or something like that. Good for, you know, soloing, that kind of thing. And then you have the last one is notch filter. Well, we talked about getting rid of our lows, getting rid of our highs, and then the band pass affecting everything that's outside of the frequencies that you've selected. Well, notch filter is the opposite of that. Now, whatever frequency and Q you select, you're now cutting those frequencies out, and everything on the high side and the low side is unaffected. Again, depends on how big you want that Q to be and which frequencies you're selecting. This is an EQing method that I use often to cut out, you know, problematic frequencies, annoying frequencies. If you gig out a lot, you know that every stage you play is different. Different rooms highlight different frequencies and reverberate in different ways. And a lot of times what I do is I try to find those frequencies and cut them out. Get rid of them, and you'll get a lot of clarity in your tone. Again, it's different from venue to venue. This is also, you know, kind of scooping your mids, for lack of a better term. You know, give you a nice big round tone depending on which frequencies you select and how big your Q is. Those are the four basic, you know, parameters of the pedal. I'd encourage you again to just turn your direct volume all the way off, turn your filter volume all the way up, and then just start going through each setting, messing with the Q, messing with the frequency, and see what the pedal's really doing. You know, you let your ear be the judge. For instance, maybe we go to the high pass. You know, cutting out lows is not something I think the average bass player leans into. But if you want a bit of clarity and a bit of definition and a bit of cut through, turn your direct volume all the way down, turn this all the way up, and then find some brighter frequencies and start playing. You're probably not going to love the way that sounds. It's going to sound really tinny, really brittle, really bright, and you're not going to have any body out of it, right? And you're going to go like, why would I ever use this setting? Well, then start dialing in that direct volume. Now all of a sudden you're bringing all that body back into your tone. You're just highlighting these more articulate, brighter, more clarity kind of frequencies, and you're going to add just more bite to your tone by doing something like that. So don't be turned off if you turn a knob to something and it goes like, why would I ever use this for? Well, start dialing in your your dry signal, your direct signal, and you'll be surprised at, oh, well, all of a sudden I kind of dig what this is doing. You know, just have fun with it, see what it does. I've been playing with this pedal for about the last 30 minutes, and it feels like it's just kind of like the glue to the tone, you know? You're just like sculpting a little bit. It's not an octave pedal. It's not a chorus pedal. It's not like all of a sudden you sound like you're in outer space or anything. It's just about, if you're particular about your tone and what your bass sounds like, this is just going to lead you down that path further and give you more sculpting capabilities. If Phil used it, I mean, it can't be bad, right? Like, you can't go wrong, you know? With that said, let's test drive this pedal, and I'm going to go through a bunch of different things, and we're going to get familiar with what this pedal does. Let's go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn my direct volume all the way down, turn my filter volume all the way up, and kind of see what the pedal's doing. I'm going to go all the way to the low pass, which again should just allow the low frequencies and remove a lot of the high frequencies. Let's see what we got here. Clearly, very dark. So we can adjust our frequency. You see we're going over, we're adding more mids and highs here. If I go to the far side, doesn't sound like it's really cutting out very much highs at all now. And then we also have our Q. Really bright tinny. Really, now we're spreading out that Q. Almost like I've got my tone rolled off on my bass, right? But I don't. It's all the way up. Now, not as it sits much of a usable tone, right? It's just super, unless you're doing something super, you know, sub-bassy. But now, let's bring in some of our clean signal. You know, now we're bringing back some of them high frequencies that we cut out, but we're still accenting that low frequency. Because if I get rid of that, see how now you're like, where'd all the body go, right? Well, here it is. Let's lot of body there. I feel like what I want to do, actually make it a little more subby. I'm going to take some of my dry signal out of it. Now we're getting like subby. Bring a little bit back. Nice R&B, you know, tone. You know, just one feature of what you could do with the low pass to kind of accentuate that low end, cut a little bit of those, like, you know, stringy brightness out of your tone. Let's skip past the band pass and let's go to the high pass. Again, I'm going to turn my dry signal all the way down, and I'm going to go skip that one. I'm going to go to my high pass again, allowing the high frequencies to come through and cutting and attenuating the low frequencies. So all the way down, this is just what the filter pedal is doing. Finding my frequency, still a lot of low end and body there. If I start bringing that frequency over to the high side, mess with the Q, you know, you can get really, you know, frankly, it doesn't sound so great, right? Super tinny. That's fine. Where we want our Q here, how much? Really honky. Now, again, not so great, right? But let's see what happens when we start bringing in our dry signal. Maybe you can hear it, maybe not, but I'll show you. Now you can hear there's a lot more brightness, clarity, clanky kind of thing in there. You know, if you're a Tool, you want to sound like Justin Chancellor, you're gonna need some of that high clank in there. Good for chords. All right, so now let's see if we take the filter out, you know, smoother, little, you know, certainly more dark. Kind of like maybe might sit in the mix a little better, but if you want to pop out in the mix, turn that filter up. Lots of clarity, a lot of shimmer, a lot of shine. Great for some slap. Let's see what it sounds like if I take the filter out. Again, you just want that cut through. And then, you know, there's a lot of different places you can put that. So, let's see where we're at. Dial it back just a little bit. Almost makes my P bass sound like a J bass. You know, it's a little bright and honky right now, but just dial it back a little bit. Take it out. And just dial in a little bit. Give it a little bit more. You want a lot. Just giving you a lot of different options here. Let's go to the band pass. Again, remember, this is depending on which frequency and how big your Q is, it's going to attenuate the frequencies outside of that, so on the low side and the high side. I'm going to turn my dry signal all the way off so we can hear exactly what this pedal is doing. So when the Q is all the way down, you're getting a very small, narrow Q, and it's just affecting a small set of frequencies. And then as you expand that Q, that triangle gets much wider, and now all of a sudden you're affecting a lot more things. So let's see here. So just kind of give you an idea. I mean, it almost sounds like, I'm moving my frequency shelf. I'm just expanding that Q. And then, which frequency? Really subby, really brittle, right? I kind of like it down here to add a little bit of little girth. Get rid of, fine tune it a little bit. It kind of sounds like I'm kind of using it as a low pass. I guess you could say I'm doing that. Like low mids. Low mids will be this. Putting it in that kind of low mid section will definitely get you a cut through the mix kind of tone. So again, not necessarily the most usable tone out there. Really kind of honky. Not a lot of definition, right? But now, let's start bringing in. And then, you can also dial it back just a little bit if you wanted to, but if I could take it out, now let's go to the notch filter. Now this is going to, depending on your Q and your frequency, it's going to cut those frequencies out, right? Kind of the scoop mid thing, give you a nice round tone. So I'm going to turn our clean signal all the way off, turn our affected filter signal all the way up, and kind of see what's happening here, right? How big is my Q? How much frequency am I affecting? And then which frequencies? It's like sometimes you're like, I don't know how this is going to affect things. And then you just use your ears. And, that's just our dry signal. That's with the pedal not doing anything. Now, let's see here. Our notch filter here. Sounds pretty good all on its own. Lots of clarity, lots of definition, fat, round. So I would say, what I think is happening here is you know, we're kind of, where are we at here? We're kind of in the middle of this, the frequency spectrum. So we're just scooping out some of the mids, but still got a lot of clarity, a lot of highs, a lot of lows. Now let's see, let's bring in our dry signal. Now you're like, what if we take it out? It feels like now the tone's falling flat. Like, I miss it. Hopefully now you've got a little better idea of what those Osiris Philter pedal sounds like. If you're a tone snob, definitely worth checking out. Osiris was kind enough to offer a discount code to all of you out there. So with the promo code BASSNERDS, you'll get 15% off your order at checkout. Just reach out to those guys and put that promo code in and you'll save 15%. I don't know how long it's going to last. Maybe a week, maybe a month, maybe 6 months. I don't know. But eventually, I'm assuming that promo code's going to go away. So jump on it now. And this is serial number 97. So, you know, we're just breaking the threshold now of the 100 unit mark. So be one of the first. It's a very cool pedal. I think you'll be really excited about it. And you'll really love what it does for your tone, especially if you're a tone nerd. Like we are over here. You know, we're working hard here to create content for you guys. It would mean a lot if you like and subscribe to the channel, share it, you know, it all helps. So thank you so much. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.